Okay, well, we could get started and maybe we'll go around and say hellos. This is our first meeting with our new director, Tondra Davis. So it would be nice for Tondra to be able to say hello to everyone here. This is her first time at TRANS-CAC, though has been with us about a month and a half now, right, Tondra?
Yes, about month and a half, 6 weeks, I think it is. So yeah, um, hello everyone, and I'm happy to be here at this meeting. Just to give you a little background on myself, I came from most recently the Department of Administration, where I was the director of the Supplier Diversity Program. Seems like forever ago. I gotta remember what I did. But in DOA, we certified minority-owned. I'm getting feedback. I don't know why.
I hear that too.
We certified minority-owned, women-owned, and also service-disabled, veteran-owned businesses, and so had that certification background. And then I'm actually returning to DOT because I previously, many years ago, had worked in the Department of Transportation in State Patrol as well as in DMV. So I'm happy to be on board. Thankful for my staff, especially Madeline and her team, who have certainly helped acclimate me to the program, and looking forward to working with everyone. So thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, Tondra. So I'll go around and do a roll, and Michael Holker is here, maybe not for the first time, but in a slightly different capacity. So we'll let you say hello, Michael.
Hello, I think I've been to a couple of these meetings before, but I'm Michael Holker. I'm the Deputy Director for the Bureau of Project Development and the Interim Director for Bureau of Project Development as we work to fill Beth's position.
Thank you for being here. Yeah, good to have you. I'll stick with BPD and go over to Brian Porter.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Brian Porter, Consultant Services Section Chief. I am on the road with unreliable internet, so forgive me for not sharing some video.
It is okay. Thanks for being here, Brian. Mitch Patoka is also on the call. Hi, Mitch.
Hello, good morning. I'm Mitch Patoka in the Bureau of Project Development. I work for Brian.
Great, thank you. And thanks for compiling all the data you always provide for us. We appreciate that. So I'll go around with my team. We have a few people on here. You can see Kathleen, who facilitates these meetings as an organizer. And she's our GFE analyst as well. Good morning, Kathleen.
Good morning, everyone.
And Benji is on, our RDB program engineer. She's muted, but most of you probably know Benji. I see Natalia Vega is on. Good morning, Natalia. Natalia's in certification.
Good morning.
Okay, and so I think that is WISDOT for now, and we may have some others pop in, but we can move on to those I see, and then I'll go through the other list. So hello, Andy at HNTB.
Hey, good morning, and thanks for inviting me into this meeting. I look forward to the discussions. I work at HNTB. We're a engineering, planning, architecture firm with offices in Green Bay, Milwaukee, and Madison. I've been at HNTB for 20 years, and I am our WISDOT client service leader.
Thank you, Andy. We're happy you are here. Kim Lebdell at KL. Good morning. It's very good to see your face.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Good. Oh, and there's Michael Rivera just popped on the screen. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, everybody.
Nice to see you. And okay, we know that Angela is on the phone from Stevens. Hello again, Angela.
Good morning. And sorry I can't be online, but yeah, this is Angela Copenhagen on Stevens Engineers. We're up at Hudson, Wisconsin. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. And Keisha is on from Prism. Good morning, Keisha.
Good morning,
Oh,
everyone.
nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
I like that I like cameras every now. It's nice to see people now and then. So yeah, nice to see your face.
Awesome. Good to see you
And
too.
Elia, I see you there at PE. How are you?
How are you doing, Madalena? Thanks for having me. I'm Elia Ayaz. I work for PE Services, a small DBE in Minneapolis. And we just recently started our first project with WISTA, and we're excited to be on board and in the process with you guys.
Wonderful.
It was tough
Thank
getting
you for,
here.
It's yeah, it's you know, generally got to put a little elbow grease and love into it, but you're on the way. So thanks for being here.
Thanks
And
for
I
having me.
see absolutely. Meenal Ham at M Squared. Hello, Meenal.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Nice to see you. Oftentimes the background offices are fake, but yours is not, and it's nice. And you got windows there, and Kim's got windows. It's nice to be in spaces that let in some natural light.
And make sure the camera's high so you can't see the clutter on the counter.
And you, there's some strategies, yes.
Yeah.
Good, good. All right. Okay, so I think I got all the consultants who are on right now. And we may have other joiners. I think Dave will be here, Dave Bros. So Jada Begum is here from FHWA. Greetings, Jada.
Hi, Madalena. Good morning, everyone. Good
Thanks.
to be here.
Thank you for being here, and we'll come to you later as we look at updates from our various industry and or partner representatives. So, and just so you know, anybody new to the meeting, I will go around at the end and just ask everyone individually if you have something to share with us. So, so be ready because I'm coming to you. So with that, welcome everybody. And we can go over to Kathleen to review the meeting minutes from our last meeting. Just so you know, we do have each meeting recording posted, the meeting minutes, and also the information on the next meeting online. I'm going to go over our website a little bit when we get to my updates. And so you can always go there or send your friends there if you missed a meeting or want to get someone else engaged. Okay, Kathleen.
Yes, hello everyone and good morning again. I am going to go over the meeting minutes from the January 25th, 2023 TRANS-CAC meeting. We had a presentation for consultant services by Mitch. At that point in time, there was about $41 million in contracts executed through the first quarter of fiscal year 2023. The construction fair 2022 update, nearly all contracts had been negotiated and finalized, and they were anticipating 21% DBE achievement and a very large opportunity in construction oversight for the I-43 Milwaukee County project. Next, we moved into our updates first with Benji Hayek, who gave a goal attainment report. For the first quarter of fiscal year 2023, we were at about 43 million, and our utilization report, the after contract execution, was approximately at 1.1 million with additional DBE participation. Madalena then gave some fiscal year 2022 DBE program highlights. We exceeded our 12.41% triennial goal at 13.75%. We had in fiscal year 2022 about 29 million in after contract execution on the construction side, and then also about 29 million in MBE participation in the state funded projects. The state has a 5% MBE goal. Next, I gave an update on the consultant cuff monitoring that we did for fiscal year 2022. Again, this was kind of the last check and balance to identify any potential red flags that might be a cause for further investigation. This was done by the WISTOT staff from both the regions and bureaus. We reviewed 38 DBE firms and over 600 projects, and the focus was on 4 areas: management, supervision of workforce and employees, equipment, and performance. And then next, we had a nice presentation on the Mentor Protege program. This was a partnership between Singh and Graf, and Harvard Singh and Mary Beth Pettit gave a presentation. Harvard was the prime firm with Graf's oversight, and they provided support services and design mentoring. A fairly straightforward project was selected on I-41, the north-south freeway. These were east and west frontage roads. Some challenges and some knowledge was also discussed. The challenges from the experience. Singh realized that they needed more education in the WISTOT CAD standards. The project was advanced by a year, and there was a change in the PM in the Southeast region. But some really great experience was gained. Also, Singh grew their experience base and now have experience as a prime. It's recognized that non-DBE primes can still kind of share a piece of the pie and, also concentrate possibly on some larger projects. And it was really important that DBE consultants exercise or experience these expectations and risk as a prime. It motivates them to kind of reach more and understand that they are able to prime projects as well. And then lastly, we had an industry check-in, some brief comments. Dave Rose from ACEC indicated that there was a conference coming up March 7th and 8th. NAMAC, looks like 2 new members joined, Tim McMurdy and Dr. Sabrina Robbins. Angela Popenhagen from Stevens Engineers indicated she recently formalized the Mentor Protege with Ayers and appreciated the presentation from Graf and Singh. Bruce Spann from Spann and Associates indicated that he did win a complex project in March of 2023, so this year. So he was looking forward to that. Ilya Ayaz, as he just indicated, was awarded his first project with WISTOT, so very excited about that. Benji Hayek from WISTOT indicated there would be a DBE room in the Engineering Opportunity Day, and Roslyn, again from WISTOT, mentioned our annual event, March 2nd and 3rd, coming up in the Wisconsin Dells. And then lastly, we had some closing comments from Madalena.
All right, thank you, Kathleen. Does anyone have anything to add or that you noted needs to be updated if you were here at the last meeting? Seeing and hearing none, can we move to approve those minutes?
I move to approve.
Thank you, Benji. Second, please.
Second.
Thank you very much, Ilya.
Ilya. All right.
Yes, Ilya. So we can move on. Brian, are you ready? Kathleen will share your slides. And can you see them?
Yes, let me just.
I just don't know if I assume he can see them where he's at. He just can't, we can't see him. Are you good, Brian? Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so first I wanted to share an update on our Fed fiscal year 23 DBE goal. Keep in mind we're just over halfway through the federal fiscal year. So this table shows executed and pending consulting contracts for Fed fiscal year 23. So overall, we have 158 million federal funds programmed for consultant contracts. Our overall DBE goal was 12.41%, which amounts to roughly 19.6 million. And our overall DBE achievement is 16.52%, which amounts to 26.1 million. So some positive results. has changed a bit from the last quarter, and I'm sure we'll see some changes through the end of the federal fiscal year. I'm not sure, Madalena, if you're going to go into a little bit more detail, but just wanted to kind of give a high-level overview of those, and then discuss some overall contracting trends. So I have 6 charts. The first 3 look similar to this. This one shows construction oversight contracts by calendar year for the last few calendar years. And the blue bars show the number of contracts, and the orange line shows the total dollar amount of those contracts. So you can see the number and total dollar amount of construction contracts has doubled from 2019 to 2022, and we anticipate similar levels as 2022 and 2023. And moving on to work orders by calendar year, again, blue bars indicate the number of contracts, and the orange line shows the total dollar amount of those contracts. So both the number and total dollar amount of work orders has been fairly consistent over the last couple of years, anticipating that to continue through 2023. And then moving on to regular solicited contracts by calendar year. Again, the bars represent the number, and the orange line, the total dollar amount. And we've seen pretty significant increase in the number and total amount of solicited contracts from 2019 to 2022, and expecting 2023 to be fairly similar to last year. The next 3 charts show when those contracts are approved by month for those same year, just to give a sense of how things look throughout the year. This is construction oversight contracts. We typically have held our construction fair in September, and then contracting hits a couple months later in the late winter, early spring. As Mitch indicated, I think at the last quarterly meeting, most of those are wrapped up. We might still have a few left, but just a look at how things hit throughout the year for construction oversight contracts. As far as the regularly solicited contracts, those are a little bit more consistent, but you can see a lot happens at the end of the calendar year and then at the end of the fiscal year. So we've got a lot of activity right now, trying to get things squared away and approved for the end of the year. And the next one shows work orders. Again, much more consistency throughout the year. You can see some peaks in the spring, but just wanted to share a little bit about where the program's at as far as consultant contracts, how things hit throughout the year, just to give a sense if things might be a little slow at periods, or you're kind of expecting some things. That's just a little bit of information on that. So then lastly, I just wanted to share something about our next event that our group will be hosting is the construction fair, and that won't happen until September, October of this year. We are planning to hold virtual interviews again using Microsoft Teams. And please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or comments on the construction fair. And that's all I had. I don't know if there's any questions. I appreciate the time.
Thanks, Brian. I did have one question. Kathleen, will you go to that top slide for the overall attainment? I was wondering, Brian, if that 158 million, that is federal funds that have been used in the program thus far for the federal fiscal year or for the state fiscal year?
I'm fairly certain that that is executed and pending contracts. So ones we have programmed for Fed Fiscal 23.
Okay,
Mitch Patoka generates that data. I don't know if he's on and has any clarifications there.
Yep. So those include both contracts that we've executed as well as spending that's been programmed. I do think that that number is probably somewhat high
okay,
based on what we're going to see done. And when we're estimating future contracts, we're fairly conservative with our estimates of DBE achievements. So we may actually see our overall goal come up slightly. So just a little
okay.
background there.
All right, thanks. Yeah, I was just trying to get a gauge since we've still got several months left in the federal fiscal year. If we're already at 158 million, you know, do we project that to go very much higher in federal funds?
No, I think we
Okay.
would probably actually see that probably come down as,
Okay.
you know, as we get to the, you know, as we go forward and we get more clarity about what contracts we're going to be executing.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. I just wasn't sure if that was what was already included in the contracts that happened or if this would just represent our entire federal fiscal year and then you're using it as we go. So that makes sense. I just didn't know if we needed to be alarmed that this number would now go to 200 million or something when we were looking at 130 to 150. So
Yeah, good question.
yeah, good. Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions? Well, thanks for those updates, Brian. I'm wondering if there's anything that we want to highlight in upcoming solicitations. Oop, do we lose you? Oh, okay, there you are.
Yeah, I guess I'm not sure if there's anything specific in upcoming solicitations.
Okay. Well, I know in June we'll look at 94 East West in some fashion. That's in June. I'm not sure what's happening in between now and then, but that one is on our radar. And I think that's good there. We can maybe transition into the if you want, Mitch, I don't know if you're planning to share the report you usually do. I know that that went out to the group. So unless if you have more detail you wanted to share there, that's fine. Otherwise, I think we're pretty good on what that attainment is thus far. Is that your thought?
Yeah, if somebody has
Okay.
questions, I can answer those. But yeah, it's the standard report.
Okay, great. Well, thank you both. And we can move over to Benji to talk a little bit about the overall DB goal attainment, because as you know, we have the 12.41% overall, and then the consultant piece and the construction piece work together to achieve that goal. So as Brian shared the percentage achieved so far on the federal funds in construction, Benji will share where we at in the federal funds or in consulting. Benji will share the construction, where we're at with federal funds, and put them together to show you our overall achievement at this point.
Thank you. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
All right, thank you. So as Madalena said, we have a 12.41% goal set for this past 3 years. And as of this morning, we topped off at 13.06%. And how we arrive at that, this is on the construction side. We have our let months, the amount of bids or the amount of money at time of bid. I'm sure most of you have already seen this chart. So real quickly, we've had 952 million in contract dollars just through April, from October through April. We've had Fed funds of 688 million. We've had 210 contracts and 60 million, 60 point, almost 8 million in assigned DBE goal that was achieved. Our neutral commitment is the 14 million and the 60 million. That's giving us about 75 million in complete DBE commitment at time of let. I wanted to bring up this is the report that we take our consultant figures from. And you'll see up here that the funds were 158 million, 19,607 was reflected on the slides from Brian. Right now, we have 13,233,514 in DBE commitments that have been executed, or 17.11%. And that gets factored in over here. You'll see here 13,223,514. The consulting dollars are right now are 77 million. So we take the Fed funds of construction and consulting and add them together. We have 765,987 in contract dollars. Our DBE commitment again for consulting is 13,223. Our commitment with the modifications from our contracts, right as of this date today, we have 11,770 after execution of contract DBE commitment modifications. And what's important in this number too is that there are consultants that are performing on construction jobs, either in the for survey, materials testing, or something along that line. So we're also seeing consultants performing on construction in DBE capacity, which is really great to see. So if you are receiving outreach from prime contractors and you can do work for survey, materials, whatever, consider doing that, because they have good contracts. Here is and as I said, we have 100 million committed in consultant and construction dollars year to date. And again, we have a 13.06% DBE achievement to date. I mentioned that we do have modifications, and this is the utilization report that's provided by my counterpart, Maria. And these are after contract execution, additional DBE commitments. And there's a lot that are reviewed and approved. So our total through today is 11,773,49. Are there any questions on that?
I know it can be a lot of information all at once, but I think you present it about as clearly as it can be. But anyone who does have a question, don't feel shy to ask, because we know you're looking at a lot of numbers.
So the table at the top is just contractor dollars, Benji?
Yes, these are contractor dollars. But again, we do have some of our DBE firms and even some of our non-DBE firms, the consultants that are performing on construction jobs, either in the role of survey, materials,
Sure.
testing.
So that's just all the money that falls under like contractor contracts, and then
Correct.
the table below is construction inspection, construction
modifications.
engineering.
No. The table below is modifications after contract execution. We set a goal on construction projects, which is called the assigned goal, and then we have our neutral participation. And anything that comes in after the contract has been executed, additional usage of DBE firms, be it 99% of them are going to be DBE contractors. And then we do have a couple of modifications for our consultants that are performing work after execution that meet the DBE requirements for NAICS codes for work performed. So these are additional monies, DBE credit dollars that are coming in after contract has been executed.
And I think that chart that Mitch shows, which you showed briefly, or
Yep.
that Brian shows now, that one also, somewhere in there, could be a different one, but I know that as contracts get more dollars put in on the consultant side or amendments happen, then it ends up
Mhm.
reflected here and is part of the goal capture as well.
Right, so this is what we have right now, being executed. And then there's a potential for an additional 12.9 million in DBE participation for the 26 million that Brian and Mitch were talking about earlier.
And it's a good, it's trying to, once they've got it, once it makes it to this chart, it's a very good chance that they get executed. Is that a correct statement, Brian? It's pending.
Right.
But
that's
we're counting on it.
right. And it's a conservative estimate as well.
Great. Thanks. Okay, any more questions there on attainment? No? Okay, thank you, Andy. I will talk a little bit about opportunities for DBE consultants. I sort of wrap this into different ways that we look at working through resources that we have. My area is not specifically on what are solicitation opportunities, though we will have some of those updates too. And as some projects come on that we're going to be placing goals on, then we're going to focus on those more here to explain those opportunities to you. But I wanted to give a few updates on some things that we have been doing, and then, maybe spark some ideas with you of other things that we can do. I did present an update maybe a couple times, but definitely, I think at that last quarterly meeting that we had about the work we were doing with consultant primes to get their feedback on what we could do to engage more DBEs on projects, what were benefits that those primes see, what are challenges, networking events grew out of that, and amongst other suggestions that we are working on. So we did do a first networking event that Grave had hosted, and that was a great opportunity where we were able to talk more about that mentor-protege relationship that they had worked on with Sing, and quite a few different firms were represented there, DBEs and primes who were non-DBEs, and good conversation. So we want to take that into the other regions. That was a first one that we had done that came out of those discussions. And so we're continuing to work there. We're also taking the feedback that we need to do better communication to let non-DBEs and DBE consultants know what resources we have, what type of information that we are putting out. This meeting right now, we, or I can take responsibility, assume that everyone knows this meeting happens, or everyone knows we have a Southeast Region Stakeholder Advisory, or that we have a directory, or that we have newsletters. And those are faulty assumptions. So it was really good feedback for us to get in knowing that, okay, we have to be much more focused on how we get the word out about what the program is doing, what WISDOT's expectations are. I think what we really found that was really helpful in those conversations with the consultant, mostly non-DB primes, was that there was so much willingness to work with us and support the program, but they were really looking for WISDOT to set the tone and take the lead there and be clear on what expectations are. So that was gratifying, and we're working there and really appreciate that kind of partnership moving forward. And as I learn more about how the mechanisms work within consulting, then I can be a much better connector and resource also. Along those lines, I was invited to participate in a WISDOT initiative that was partnering with consultant firms that recently took place. Was that only this month? I think it was, Brian. The days are like blending together, but it was a really great event of exchanging, how do consultants experience approaching work with WISDOT? What is WISDOT's experience? And there was really great dialogue exchange. I was happy to be there to learn, but also to be able to sort of interject at different parts in our networking activities. Where are the times we can think about DBEs, and how can we make sure that that's part of the overall thinking, and integral to how we do contracting. So I think that's a really great step for us to be involved in those conversations. And another point that had come up was, and that's why I was really hoping Dave would be here. Is he yet? Oh, look, no. Okay. So some of you may remember that Dave had brought up at one of our meetings that potentially we could invite DBEs to participate in ACEC quarterly meetings, new DBEs to our program, to just come in for 5 minutes, introduce themselves, and sort of let industry know who they are. And so I think that's a great idea. I would like to do that if that's possible, and have more of a conversation with ACEC about that. I would also like to get to those ACEC meetings more regularly. I've only been engaging about once a year, and I think and I deliver policy information, so I come and I say, whatever new thing we changed. And I think that's really also an opportunity where I can go through, here's how the program works. Fundamentally, there's going to be people there who don't even know what the DBE program is. So why is it here? What are we doing? What are the goals of this program? How can you get engaged? And what are the resources we have? So I want to be really working on that, and also use that as a tool to be engaging more firms in the mentor protege process. I think we're in a place where we're starting to really figure out how we can make that effective in consulting. And I know Andy is going to be involved in that process, and is really willing to help us make that successful. And so those are some basic updates that I have just about what we're doing, and where we're going. Oh, lots of feedback. Okay, I'm going to mute someone. There we go. So just kind of letting you know, this is really a focus on our radar. We are really looking at getting more DBEs into contracting who potentially have been trying to get consultant contracts and have not been successful, or have not been successful lately, who need to learn how WISDOT works. That's where mentor protege can work really well. So working on that. And I mentioned that we are looking more at goal setting as well, where that will be most effective, how we can use that as a tool to potentially get more contracts to DBs who are underutilized in our program. So that's a kind of basic. Any questions on that information? Everybody's still awake? I know when you see me in person and I'm wearing a dress with pumpkins all over it or something, it's a little, a little more engaging. Okay, overall annual goal setting overview. What I wanted to do was just share briefly with you methodology that we approach setting an overall annual goal with. I'm not going to go super far into this for you, because really what I want you to know is just that we are in the stage of setting our overall annual goal for the next triennial. So we're in our third year at that 12.41%, and we're moving into 24, 25, 26, which will have a new goal. And that overall annual goal is really what guides our program to help remove barriers, give more access to underrepresented firms, mostly minority and women-owned firms. And we also want to make sure that in this process, we're accountable, we're transparent, and that this is going to enrich the program, and we seek everyone's input on that. So as just an initial, really basic overview, here's what we do. It looks pretty simple, and it's complex. So when we start with step one, this is where we come up with our head count. You may have heard of this referred to as a base figure, the RWA, that's the ready, willing, and able number of DBEs that after we analyze various sources, we come to the conclusion that those are the DBEs that we could expect would be on our projects or have the potential to be on our projects. So we use our DBE directory. We use CRCS, and that's the civil rights and compliance system that every vendor on the construction side needs to register through. It gives us sort of a proxy for a bidders list, sort of. And we use that data in CRCS to come up with the non-DBE construction firms that will be included in the ratio that we use to come up with our base figure. We look at the consultant roster. We work closely with Brian and his team to determine how to include the firms there, both DBE and non-DBE. We need to be consistent in how we determine who we're including. So, if we have a rule that we're going to look at firms who had earnings in the last 5 years, that could be one factor. That's very helpful to us when we're determining who we will use on the construction side for non-DBEs, because, we can't include 7,000 firms. We need a gauge to figure out how to include them. We want to look at work types, making sure that these are firms who are going to work in heavy highway, that we have consistent work types for DBEs and non-DBEs as we compare. And then we also look at another source, which is the Wisconsin Supplier Diversity Network. This is the agency that certifies MBEs and WBEs and SDVBs, Tandra, the service disabled veterans. And so MBE, minority business, and WB, women-owned business. So we can look there in work types that would be heavy highway, who are not already DBE firms, as potential firms who would be interested in working on WISDOT projects potentially. So we come up with this head count, the base figure. It's a ratio determined by all the DBEs that we thought could work on our projects, divided by the DBEs plus the non-DBEs, and we come up with a number. So, that number, say it's 10%, we're going to say we start with that initial base figure, and then in step 2, we look at how might we adjust that. What other information should we take into account? That's where we'll look at our past participation. We'll look at what firms came out of the directory since our last triennial. So, for instance, if we have a lot of bridge work coming up, and several of our DBE firms who work on bridges have, in the last year or so, left the directory because they got too big or they withdrew for whatever reason, now we know that that could affect our future DBE projected participation, because we wouldn't have a firm who could take that on. We would factor in, for instance, KL and JT leave our consultant DBE pool. Well, that would affect our projection moving forward. So things like that are factored in. And then very importantly, the project and work types that we have coming up in our next triennial, because we need to see, of the DBEs we know we've identified and the type of work we have, how does that align? So those can be adjustment factors in step 2. In step 3, we are evaluating how much of a goal to assign versus how much through neutral means. So at this point, we've got our goal. So say we adjusted and that goal ended up at, in the last instance, 12.41%. Now we need to decide how much of that goal is going to be assigned. So that means at the time of bid or prior to a solicitation, what are we going to say that we want to see that achievement to come to? And then what do we think we will get through neutral means or the lack of a goal? So the majority of the consultant achievement right now is neutral, right? There isn't a goal on it. All of that achievement Benji showed after contract execution on the construction side, there's no goal at that point. That's always the best scenario for us. When neutral participation is happening, that means we get closer to a level playing field. There are other things, of course, that we're factoring in, like how are we looking at diversity in our contracting? But in general, we see there that DBs are being used outside of, that they have to. And so that's the ideal optimal situation to be in. Step 4, we're looking at public participation, and all the feedback that you will have will come back to TRANS-CAC. We'll go to TRANS-CAC, the construction side. We'll talk to our stakeholder advisory committees. We'll work with EDBC, which is ethnically diverse business coalition, which is most of the chambers of commerce, and we get feedback from them, from ACEC, WTBA, NAMAC. So we're really at this point trying to get feedback on, here's what we think the goal is. What do you have to say to us that we would consider if another adjustment is needed? So that's sort of the overall methodology. And this is the previous 21, 23, but I just wanted to show you how that looks then once we would break out what the goal is, and we look at our overall federal funds, that's construction and consulting combined. Where's our percentage at? What does that look like in dollars to DBEs? And then this conscious assigned goal piece, we've been aiming at 8.14 over the last triennial and looking at 4.27 for neutral. So this is very similar to what you will see as we move forward into the 24 to 26. So I think that is, yeah. So I just wanted to give you that sort of a snapshot of the methodology that we are working on right now. And do we have any questions? I see there's something in the chat, but okay, Brian had to go. Okay. So letting you know, that's what we're engaged in now, one of the things, and we'll be coming back for feedback. Any questions or comments? Okay. Well, thank you for listening. One more thing that I would like to share. Our updates on our website. It's my granddaughter, my nephew. Okay. So I wanted to let you know that we've been engaging in a variety of updates to the website, and we will keep working on them. This particular page is for DBEs to get information that you need as sort of a formality, right? So the forms are here. No change affidavit information is here. You want an expansion? Yes, please. Here's a form for that. Interstate firms information here for you. On the construction side, if you're working on CRCS, here's a link. And I know that in this page also, we will have more information on the consultant links, as well as our transit and aeronautics opportunities. Wanted to make sure that you know these support services are here, and each of these has more information on what we're doing, what types of services we have. So there's the management, business growth and development, So each of these will open up to give you some more information. There are brochures in here. When we're doing workshops, those can be highlighted here. We have a loan mobilization program. If you have a contract with WISDOT, we can look at how to help there. Other small business resources. So just letting you know, these are resources, go check them out. And then also wanted to make sure that you, well, okay, I'll show you this one, but I also want to show you our directory. This is the map, and I've shown this before in here, but this map will show you both the 6-year plan and where DBs are located. And you can turn on layers here. So maybe you don't want to see those construction projects. It's just too busy, or you do. You can zoom in. We want to see who's over here in Green Bay, and you know, you can look. All right, that was Leonard and Finco Public Relations. So this is here as an option. And we have recently updated our directory as well. So when you click a link, it's in several places on the website, you would see this update to our directory. This directory can be sorted. So if you only want to see consultants, then you just select consulting. And then a very helpful update that is making this directory much more navigable is that we've simplified these areas of work classification and NAICS codes so that they're condensed. You're not scrolling 15 columns to see which NAICS codes are applicable. You can also sort here. So even though there are multiple, if you only wanted to look at a DBE who, let me scroll down a little bit, does design engineering, you could sort this list for design engineering. And pull all of those. You can also look regionally, what is their home region. And we also have an area here where we can fill in if we know where firms have worked in our state. So just letting you know, this is also here as a resource, and we want you to use it, and we want you to ask questions as you have them if you're looking to work with DBEs. We are also really encouraging DBEs to be reaching out to primes, making that introduction, having a capability statement, making sure primes know what you do, because it can be very difficult if a prime consultant is looking for a new DBE to include, but all they're seeing is engineering services, doesn't really tell them a lot. So we will work more with DBEs on developing those tools if you don't have them as well. So that's it for my updates. Questions, comments on any of that?
This
Okay.
is Rosalind. I have a comment. I just want to say that I appreciate the updates on the website, because I do get calls from DBE potentials and wanted to get the application. And one guy was saying, well, can I come to the office? Because I'm really just not into all this online stuff. And I said, well, it's not as bad as it is as you think it is. And so I said, give me an email, and I sent him the link. He got the link, and we went through the website, DB certified, how to apply. And he said, oh, okay, it's not that bad. I said, no, it's not really that bad. And if you have any questions, just call me. So it was easy for me having the updates. And so I appreciate that. I really do. And he appreciated. So now he didn't have to make that trip to get the application. But I told him if he wanted to drop it off, he can. If he wanted to mail it, I showed him how he could do that. So yeah, it was the updates really helped.
Thanks, Roz. And we are working on a landing page. And so that will be a page where you come, it's just you search DBE at WISDOT, you're going to come over to the page that's like, what do you want to do, right? You want to see consultant, you want to see construction opportunities, you want to apply to be a DBE, do you need to know the resources? Just buttons to try to, because I use the website all the time, so I know which link I want to pick, but that's not the case for everyone. So making that more accessible. So we're working on that. And also, while I didn't go to it, make sure that you do check out newsletters, DB alerts that are sent out monthly, and the meetings that I mentioned that are posted. Those are all accessible there through that portal that I was showing you. Okay, so now it's time to go around. And I see we have had a few people join since we said our hellos, so I'll catch you along the way. I'm just gonna go straight down the list. So 414 number, hello. Not sure, we didn't say hello to you earlier. Would you like to say hello now? Okay, I guess not. Andy, since I can see you, you don't have the option to maybe not be here. Any comments or questions you'd like to add?
No, just it looks like just going back to the numbers for this fiscal year that you're off to a good start. So congrats on that. I know there's some more room left in the fiscal year 23 program, but from what I could tell, the DBE goals were being met, which is a good thing. So congrats. And I'm not sure then the purpose of the roundtable, but I guess there's just some stuff that we've been involved with, some really got some great sub-consultant work from some DBEs, and we're kind of winding down our role on I-43 North-South Majors program, and we got one larger letting with the Mequon Road package in July. And just so everyone knows, we had Span, Lakeside, Bloom, and Lynch on that corridor, and they've done a great job. So just a good example of DBE firms stepping up and delivering good work for primes, and thought all of y'all should know that.
Great, thank you. Thanks for your participation too and future collaborations. Jada, you are showing up next on my list at FHWA. What would you like to share with us?
Sorry, I put it in the chat saying I had to jump off for a quick call, but I was seeing if I was next or not. Good information. At this time, we're just continuing the flow with regular business. The PowerPoints was really good for me to follow along to see like what the consultant side and contractor side is doing and how we obtain like our neutral goals. So I continue to look forward to that. I do have some meetings with headquarters as they're getting ready. As we all know, we're getting ready for our DBE goal methodology. So Madalena, there will be some guidance coming out soon from that. Those meetings are starting next week for us as the civil rights specialists within the divisions. So I look forward to being a part of those to see kind of what guidance will move forward as we continue on through this process.
Okay, thanks, Jada. I did want to note that we're involved with EDC 7, which is Everyday Counts, an FHWA initiative, and I am working with Ben Thompson, who's the alternative contracting chief, and there's a focus on design build in those everyday counts. And so we're working on that and looking at how DBE planning alternatives can work for design build. So stay tuned as that develops. That initiative is underway. And that would involve consultants. I'm going to come back to you, Tondra, so you can close us out, and we'll go to Elia. Comments or questions?
Yeah, thank you. A couple of things. First and foremost, website looks great. Fantastic job on that. Secondly, I'd like to say just kind of a lessons learned for some of the new DBEs that are coming in, all the softwares that they have to sign up with, Masterworks, Ashtoware, etc., WAMS IDs. If there was some kind of something that tells you that there's 3 different softwares that you need to get on these certain lists that you have at WISDOT. We had to do one at the last minute, I guess, with the Office of Finance, just recently with Diane Pino, I think her name is. And just, wanted to say that it was very challenging to get on all the correct lists, and just so we can do business with you guys. So I don't know if there's any kind of crib notes or anything you can put on the website for that, but
okay. Thank you. That's really good feedback. And I know Brian had to go, but but Michael's here, and so he will make note of that too and find out. I know that there are some training tools that we can
Yeah,
make
you guys have
more.
lots of training tools,
Okay.
which is great. I mean, you have all the
Um,
resources there. It's just a matter of knowing that you need to be on a certain list to do a certain thing. And
Okay.
also like to say, very interested in the design build stuff. We specialize in that. So I'd love to be kept posted on that kind of information.
Definitely might even be reaching out to you to see how you've been doing that in Minnesota too. If you've done any of
Yes.
those alternatives.
I personally have been on 16 design builds at MnDOT for the last 20 years. So
Okay.
we
Got some
are
experience.
excited. We are excited that you guys are starting to use it more and would love to assist however we can.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks for always showing up too. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was great to meet you in person, and I was laughing at your pumpkin dress comment. It's hard to
Because you saw
do
me in it,
comedy.
right? I didn't
Yeah.
make that up.
It's good. It's tough to do comedy on a Teams meeting and not hear an audience laughing.
Right, yeah. Okay. I'll assume you're all laughing on the inside.
Exactly. Thanks,
Thank you
Madalena.
very much. Absolutely. Benji, any comments?
No, but some great feedback and ideas today. So thanks everybody for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Michael Holker.
Yeah, I took a note on the applications item, and I think Madalena, you, myself, Brian, and Drew Kotke can have a conversation on the best way to accomplish it, because those applications go over a few different areas here in BPD, so we can work on that. Otherwise, I don't think I have anything else to add. I think Mitch and Brian covered most of it for BPD, so nothing else.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for being here. Keisha, anything you'd like to add? Keisha might not be able to get off mute.
There we go. Sorry, I don't.
Okay.
Thank you for everything. Happy hump
Okay.
day, everybody.
Right. That's right. We're at Wednesday. Kim Lebdell.
The only thing that I wanted to bring up is I wasn't at the January meeting, and I'm sure everybody is aware, but KL Engineering is no longer a DBE. We had a change in ownership. We've sold, we're doing an internal transition, and I am no longer a 50% owner. I am still an owner, and I'm still the one who owns the most stock. But as of January 1st, we are not considered a DBE anymore. So I know that will make somewhat of a difference, because our contract that we were selected for primes, different things counted in the race neutral category. So, providing a lot of opportunities for new DBE firms to come in, and we are more than happy to help. We will be needing DBE usage on some of our projects. So feel free to reach out to me and to the other members of management at KL Engineering, new DBE firms, and we can always provide help as to having gone through a lot of it. And like I said, we will be looking to work with DBE firms also. So thank you.
Great. Thank you, Kim. Matt Kunstman, you are here. Hello at OES. How are you?
Hello, good morning. I apologize. I had some connection issues this morning, so I came on a little bit late. I missed the majority of your presentation, but thank you for your continued support of the DB program, and I really have nothing else to add at this point.
Okay, well, thanks. We can get various copies of information also out to people who are on the phone, because I know Angela was on the phone too, and looks like she's gone now, so maybe we'll just plan to do that. Michael Rivera, anything you would like to add?
Yeah, let me unmute myself and get my camera going. Yeah, a lot of good things that were said. I like the progress. I like the inclusivity, the looking at to try and bring more people within projects. We're looking to get involved on the North-South BRT. We're grateful for that.
Good.
Other projects in the future, and just participate fully, and hopefully we can see this program even expand larger. Thank you.
Great. Okay. Thank you too. Meenal, what do you have for us?
What do I have? No, really good information. I really appreciated learning how you guys develop the DBE numbers, the percent goals. I wonder if there is a way to get more detailed information from like your data that you used. Is there a way to get access to that?
There will be once we get into the draft of the report.
Okay.
So, yeah, and that will be a piece then that you can look at to give feedback on. So it will be specific. Yeah,
Thank
good
you.
question. Thank you.
Great work.
Thanks. Thanks for your involvement. Mitch Potoko, would you like to add anything else?
Nothing additional for me at this time, thanks.
Okay, thank you for helping us get through our upcoming uniform report. We appreciate that. Randy Crump, thanks for joining us from Prism. How are you?
Good, a little under the weather, but I'm all right. I appreciate the information on the DB goal setting as well. Find that interesting, and actually we're going to be doing that for the Milwaukee streetcar to finish up the last little leg of that.
Okay, well, let us know if you have any questions. And maybe we'll let you know if we have any questions. It's a pretty big process, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, well, I hope you feel better.
Thank you.
Did I miss anybody? I think I got us all, and I was seeing people leaving as we were going, but I couldn't see who it was. So I think we went through and got around to everyone. So I thank you for your continued participation and all you do for the program. You can always reach out to me or my team via email. If you have questions in between, you don't have to wait till the next quarter. And also, Brian's team is there to help, and consultant services, very strong team as well. So with that, I thank you. I'm going to give it over to our director, Tandra, to take us out.
All right. Thank you all for a great meeting today. It was certainly, as everyone has said, very good information for us to have. We're looking forward to the hard work ahead of us as we set the annual goal. So kudos to Madeline and her team, and also our partners who are helping us, assisting us in that. And as she said, we will have a public comment period, and we will be coming to you all. So we hope that you're able to help with that. Madeline, I love the consultant check-in idea. That was great. And certainly having a more comprehensive website for our DBEs is always a great idea. And really just want to thank everyone for their continued support, for the collaboration. It's certainly needed for us to be the best that we can be. So thank you.
Great. Good. Thank you, Tandra. Thanks, everybody. Have a good rest of your day.